The scent of betrayal. How the body exposes infidelity. Let's be honest. While you're looking for lipstick on a collar or searching through text messages, your body already knows the truth. It knows it on an instinctual, biochemical level, that ancient primal level that can't be fooled by words or alibis. That nagging feeling in the pit of your stomach when everything seems fine, but something is just off. That isn't paranoia. That's your internal lie detector, the most accurate polygraph in the world, sounding an alarm. We've forgotten how to listen to it. We've been trained to trust only logic and facts, ignoring the wisdom accumulated over millions of years of evolution. The great psychologist Carl Jung would call this a signal from the collective unconscious, our shared inheritance of instincts that knows exactly what danger smells like, what a lie sounds like, and what betrayal feels like. This knowledge is hardwired into our DNA. Today, we're not going to talk about evidence. We're going to learn to read 3 nonverbal, subconscious signals from the body that completely expose a cheater. The first is chemistry. The second is anomalies in intimacy. And the third is microscopic glitches in body language. By mastering this language, you'll be able to see the truth long before it has a chance to hurt you. What I'm about to tell you is knowledge that might be unpleasant, but it's necessary for self-preservation. This isn't esoteric nonsense. It's biochemistry and psychology. If you're ready to face the truth, give this video a like right now. And if you're new here and you're not afraid to look beneath the surface, subscribe, because that's exactly what we do here. And before we begin, a quick question to see where we all stand. Have you ever had that inexplicable feeling of anxiety in a relationship that you couldn't logically explain? Put a plus in the comments if you have. I'm very curious to see how many of us there are. Section 1. Signal number 1. The chemistry of betrayal. A change in SENTL. Let's start with the most powerful and most ignored signal scent. I'm not talking about someone else's perfume. I'm talking about a fundamental change in your partner's natural body odor. This isn't a metaphor. It's pure biochemistry. Constant lying, the fear of being exposed, and guilt all create chronic, low-grade stress. And stress has its own very real smell. To understand how this works, we need to dive deep into our bodies. We have 2 main types of sweat glands, eccrine and apocrine. Eccrine glands are all over the body and mostly secrete water and salt to regulate temperature. This sweat is nearly odorless. But the apocrine glands, located in the armpits, groin, and around the nipples, are a different story. They are activated not by heat, but by emotions, fear, anxiety, arousal, and of course, stress. This sweat is rich in proteins and fats, the perfect breeding ground for the bacteria that create our unique body odor. So what's happening inside a cheater's body? Their endocrine system is constantly flooding their blood with stress hormones, primarily cortisol and adrenaline. These chemicals change the composition of the secretions from the apocrine glands. As a result, the bacteria on the skin start producing completely different odorous compounds. This is no longer the familiar, comforting scent of your partner after a long day. It's a different, sharper, more acidic, and barely perceptible scent of anxiety. Your conscious mind, accustomed to deodorants and perfumes, might miss it. But your ancient limbic brain, which has spent millions of years learning to distinguish friend from foe by smell, instantly reads this signal as a marker of danger and instability. But that's only half of the chemical equation. The second component is even more crucial: foreign pheromones. Every person has a unique scent signature that we don't consciously register, but our receptors pick up on it. During physical intimacy, especially passionate intimacy, there's an intense exchange of these volatile chemical compounds. They literally soak into the skin and hair, mixing with a person's natural scent. A single shower can't wash them away completely. They remain as a microscopic but persistent trail. And this is where you get a glitch in the matrix of your perception. You go to hug your partner, and your brain expects a familiar, safe combination of scents. Instead, it gets a complex, confusing cocktail. The familiar scent plus the scent of anxiety, altered by cortisol, plus a foreign, alien chemical signature. This creates biochemical dissonance. It's like listening to your favorite song, but one note is consistently out of tune. Your ear might not know which one, but the overall feeling of harmony is gone. In the same way, your nose doesn't tell you, "He smells like another woman." Your primal brain screams, "Warning! The pack's scent integrity has been compromised." This is an outsider. Danger. It is this very dissonance that gives birth to that bad gut feeling. You can't explain it logically. The person just got out of the shower. They smell like your shared body wash. But underneath that top artificial layer, there's a subtle but constant background note that won't go away. That is the scent of betrayal, a chemical trail of deceit that your body recognizes long before your mind gathers the evidence. Your job is to learn to trust this primary signal, not to dismiss it as just foolish paranoia. Section 2. Signal. #2 Intimate anomalies. Glitches in the matrix of CLOEs inis s. The second layer of signals, even more obvious, but often misinterpreted, lies in the most intimate sphere of your relationship, the bedroom. Infidelity is a seismic shift in a person's psychology, and this shift inevitably manifests in sex. And it does so not in one, but in 3 completely different, almost opposite scenarios. It's crucial to be able to recognize each one. The first and most common is the cold scenario. This is a sharp, unexplainable withdrawal. Intimacy that was once passionate and emotional suddenly becomes mechanical, like a chore. You feel that your partner is only physically present in the room. Their mind is somewhere far away. The key markers here are the eyes and the kisses. They avoid direct eye contact during sex. Their gaze wanders to the wall, the ceiling, anywhere but into your eyes, because the eyes are a direct channel to the soul, and they're afraid you'll read the truth in them. Kisses become short, formal, and closed-mouthed. It's no longer emerging, but a simple pressing of lips. After sex, they immediately turn away, grab their phone, or pretend to fall asleep, just to avoid that moment of tenderness and conversation. This is a subconscious escape. Their body has completed the task, but their soul wants nothing to do with you because it's already connected to someone else. The second scenario is the complete opposite, which is why it's so confusing. This is the heat scenario. Suddenly, without any discussion or prelude, your partner starts displaying unprecedented activity and creativity in bed. New techniques, positions, and words appear that you've never talked about and that were never part of your shared, intimate vocabulary. This doesn't feel like a smooth evolution of your sex life. It feels like a sudden software update installed from an unknown source. He or she might show incredible passion, but this passion feels foreign, as if they're trying to replicate a script with you that was performed with someone else. There's no real emotional connection to you in this heat. It's more of a technical performance, a subconscious attempt to compare, or, even worse, to transfer a new experience into the old relationship. You feel less like a participant and more like an audience member at someone else's play, leaving a bitter aftertaste of confusion and humiliation. Finally, the third and most insidious scenario is the guilt scenario. Here, the cheater, tormented by guilt, tries to atone for it with excessive, uncharacteristic affection. They suddenly become incredibly sweet, constantly hugging you, showering you with compliments and kisses outside of the bedroom. During sex, they might be unusually attentive, constantly asking if you're enjoying it, and focusing on your pleasure with an almost desperate diligence. On the surface, it might look like a new honeymoon phase, but your intuition tells you something is wrong. This affection feels forced, almost hysterical. It's not the calm love of a confident partner. It's a frantic attempt to convince not you, but themselves, that they are still a good person, that they love you, and that nothing terrible is happening. Their caresses are an unconscious plea for forgiveness for a betrayal you don't even know about yet. This is where we can turn to Carl Jung's idea of the shadow archetype. The shadow is the part of our personality that we suppress and deny, our hidden desires, fears, and dark impulses. Cheating is an act that brings this shadow into the light. And all these intimate anomalies, cold, heat, and guilt, are nothing more than the personality's chaotic attempts to deal with its unleashed shadow. The person loses their sense of wholeness, and their behavior in the most vulnerable area of life becomes fractured and contradictory. It is with this level of depth that we analyze every topic on this channel. If this approach is important to you, rather than superficial advice, now is the best time to subscribe and become part of our community. Section 3. Signal number 3, body language. The death of the couple's dance. The third signal is the most subtle, but the most constant. It doesn't appear in specific situations, but in the general background of your daily interactions. It's about body language. In a healthy, harmonious couple, partners develop their own unique nonverbal dance over time. Their bodies synchronize. This happens unconsciously, on the level of mirror neurons and limbic resonance. When you speak, he slightly tilts his head in the same direction. When you sip your coffee, he brings his cup to his lips a second later. You sit in similar relaxed postures. This is the physical manifestation of an emotional bond, a sign of we are one. Infidelity kills this dance. The first marker is a breakdown in mirroring. The dance becomes out of sync. You'll notice that your partner has stopped mirroring you. You lean in to say something, and he instinctively leans back, creating distance. You smile at him, and his responsive smile comes a split second too late and doesn't reach his eyes. You place a hand on his shoulder and feel the muscles underneath tense up for a moment before he forces himself to relax. These are microscopic but extremely important signals. His body is subconsciously pushing you away because on an energetic level, he no longer sees you as a single unit. There is another important object in his pack, and his body is recalibrating to sync with that person, even in their absence. The second, more aggressive marker is aggression in small things. The cheater's internal conflict, stress, and guilt have to go somewhere. This colossal psychic energy seeks an outlet, and it finds one in passive aggression directed at you. Why you? Because you are a living reminder of their betrayal. Your presence amplifies their guilt, and to protect themselves from this unbearable feeling, their psyche uses a primitive defense mechanism. It's not that I'm bad. It's that he is provoking me. And so begins a stream of small, venomous jabs. It could be sarcasm where there was none before. Annoyance in response to the most innocent question, like, "How was your day?" Nitpicking over nothing. You put the cup down the wrong way. He bought the wrong thing at the store. Devaluing your feelings. Oh, here you go again. Overcomplicating things. Each of these actions is a small valve through which they release unbearable internal pressure. He is unconsciously provoking you into a conflict to find an external justification for his internal state. He's looking for a reason to distance himself from you even further, thereby legitimizing his actions in his own eyes. Section 4. The truth is in your hands. A user's eminu. You've learned to spot these three signals: the altered body chemistry, the anomalies in intimacy, and the desynchronized body language. Your intuition is screaming that something is wrong. And this is the most dangerous moment, because the first, instinctive reaction to these signals is to launch an interrogation, make accusations, and demand to see their phone. And that is the biggest mistake you can make. Why? Because by accusing without concrete proof, you achieve three counterproductive results. First, you put your partner on the defensive. Even if they are guilty, they will deny everything because no one likes to be cornered. Second, you let them know that you suspect something. They will become 100 times more careful, learn to cover their tracks better, and lie even more elaborately. And third, if it turns out your intuition was wrong and the reason for their behavior is something else, problems at work, depression, you will inflict a terrible blow to the relationship with your mistrust, from which it will be very difficult to recover. Therefore, your first task is not to accuse, but to observe. Transform yourself from a victim into an investigator. Keep a mental, or better yet, a secret written observation journal. Record facts, not emotions. For example, September 10th, evening. Asked about his day, he responded sharply and irritably, though there was no reason. September 11th morning. Tried to hug him, felt his body tense up. He quickly pulled away. September 12th night. Intimacy was mechanical. He avoided eye contact. This approach serves two purposes. First, it helps you separate real patterns of behavior from isolated incidents and paranoid thoughts. When you see a repeating system, it's no longer just in your head. Second, it gives you material for a future conversation. Should one be necessary? Only when you've gathered enough observations and are sure that this isn't a coincidence but a system. Can you move on to the second step, a direct conversation? But this should not be an interrogation. It should be a conversation about you and your feelings. Choose the right time and place, when you are both calm, won't be interrupted, and have plenty of time. Start not with an accusation, but with an I statement. Not, "Are you cheating on me?" But "I want to talk to you because lately I've been feeling a wall between us, and it hurts me." Not, "You've become so cold and mean." But "I've noticed we've been connecting less, and I miss the closeness we used to have." Talk about your feelings of loneliness, abandonment, and confusion. Describe the specific patterns of behavior you've noticed as something that hurts you. When you pull away from my hugs, I feel unwanted. The goal of this conversation is not to catch them in a lie, but to bring a problem in the relationship to light and see how your partner reacts. An honest, open reaction versus defensive denial and gaslighting, that will be the ultimate answer to your unasked question. Conclusion. The wisdom of the BOD have forgotten how to trust the oldest and wisest seismograph we have, our own body. We search for answers in the external world, in screenshots of texts and geolocation data, while all the evidence our soul needs is already within us. Our digital age has trained us to believe only what can be measured, recorded, and presented. We demand digital proof while completely ignoring the biological evidence. The signals we discussed today, the changed scent, the anomalies in bed, the broken dance of two bodies, are not mysticism or paranoia. They are the language of our unconscious, the language that millions of years of evolution use to speak to us, warning us of threats to our emotional and psychological safety. Trusting your body doesn't mean turning into a perpetually suspicious detective. It means performing an act of the deepest self-respect. It means acknowledging that your feelings, your intuition, and your bodily reactions have just as much, and often more, right to exist than someone else's words and logical arguments. It's a choice to stand by your own inner truth, even if that truth is uncomfortable and painful. To live at odds with your body, forcing yourself to believe a lie when all your instincts are screaming the opposite, is a direct path to anxiety disorders, depression, and psychosomatic illnesses. Your body doesn't wish you harm. It's simply trying to save you. This is essentially what Carl Jung was talking about when he introduced the concept of individuation, the path of a person toward themselves, toward their wholeness. As long as your mind says one thing, everything's fine, it's just my imagination, while your body signals another, danger. Lie, stranger. You are in a state of internal conflict, a civil war with yourself. And that inexplicable anxiety that plagues you is the roar of this internal battle. The first step toward healing and finding wholeness is to allow these two parts of yourself, mind and body, to begin a dialogue. To admit that the signals from your body are just as valid as logical conclusions. Learning to listen to your body and trust it is the very step toward unity, toward ending the internal war. Therefore, the knowledge you've gained today is not just a guide to exposing infidelity. It's a tool for liberation. Liberation from doubting your own sanity. Liberation from the destructive effects of gaslighting, when someone tries to convince you that you're making it all up. And ultimately, liberation from relationships where you are not valued and are being deceived. Your body is your most loyal ally. It is always on your side. And now, the main question for you. I've talked about the body's signals, but perhaps you have a story where it was your intuition, your sixth sense, that told you the truth long before there was any proof. Share your story in the comments. Let's create a real library of this intuitive wisdom right here under this video. Your experience could be a game changer for someone who is doubting themselves right now. Today, we learned to see the signals. But the hardest question is, what do you do with this truth? How do you start a conversation that doesn't turn into a nuclear war, but leads to clarity? That's exactly what we'll talk about in the next very important video. To make sure you don't miss it, be sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell.